consulting to make sure they do whatever they want. This is really wrong.
They are giving the impression that they are allowing freedom of assembly. This will actually restrict it.
Kalau kita tidak merdeka, kalau rakyat tidak berkebebasan untuk berjalan ke mana-mana, kalau semua nak minta, nak beritahu polis 30 hari sebelum itu bukan negara bebas, itu penjara namanya.
The Unconstitutional Peaceful Assembly. We are the organisation and individual citizen for the campaign Kebebasan Berhimpun KKB or Free to Assemble campaign demand the Parliament to immediately withdraw the draconian Peaceful Assembly Bill, which is unconstitutional and repressive. While superficially removing the need for police permit, it has imposed more unreasonable restrictions, heavy fines and making it worse than the existing restriction under the Police Act. The tabling of this bill with such an overwhelming name and presented as an act of reform by the Najib administration is not only an assault to civil liberty but also an insult to common sense and intelligence of Malaysians. It must be withdrawn unconditionally while the amendment to the Police Act should be passed. If the executive insists to pass it, a vote of division must be carried out to reduce the position of the individual parliamentarians. The bill has 5 major flaws which make follow Article 10 of the Federal Constitution, which is provide that all citizens have the right to assemble peacefully and without arms. Number 1, the bill introduced interests, rights and freedom of other persons as a ground of stakeholders' objection to public assembly. This is an ugly game of divide and rule to pit the aggrieved minority who want to protest against an unsympathetic majority. The power to wage such conflicting interests is conveniently left to the police. This means public assemblies in all populated areas can be easily ruled out on the ground of stakeholders' protest. Number 2, the bill not only completely rule out street protests but also listed 12 categories of prohibited places where assemblies are banned within 50-meter radius. Number 3, the bill requires a written notice at least 30 days to be given to the police for any intended public assembly. This is much more longer than 7 days needed in UK, 6 hours in Finland and 48 hours recommended by the Suhakam. Number 4, the bill imposes age limit on participation of peaceful assembly whereby citizens under 21 cannot organize an assembly, citizens under 15 cannot take part in assembly, whereas children only can attend religious and custom assemblies. Number 5, the bill imposes hefty fine on organizers and participants of public assemblies. Those who fail to disperse according to the public order, police order will be fined 20,000. Those who fail to serve notification to the police in time or observe restriction imposed 10,000 fine. And number 6, we call upon all Malaysians to rise up to protest against this bill. Malaysians must be ready to state civil disobedience to expose the abuse and arrogance of power embodied by the bill. So this is the stand of the more than 30 NGO organizations that we met yesterday, and we decided our principal stand, the government must withdraw the bill as soon as possible.
away freedom of assembly. It completely is against the article in relation to freedom of assembly, and I think it goes against what the Prime Minister said. The impression given by the Prime Minister in his announcement on September the 15th was that we were going to become more liberal, that we believe in upholding the right to freedom of assembly. This bill is not good. You can't even amend this bill. It should just be withdrawn.
The announcement, pengumuman yang dibuat oleh Perdana Menteri pada 15 September adalah satu penipuan dan satu pembohongan besar kepada rakyat Malaysia. Because apa yang dijanjikan adalah akan mengikut perlembagaan negara. Perlembagaan memberikan kita artikel 10 hak berhimpun secara aman tanpa senjata. Cukup jelas apa yang ada di perlembagaan. Undang-undang ini memang bercanggah dengan perlembagaan. Apa yang mereka hendak akta ini, yang hendak mereka buat ni memang bercanggah dengan perlembagaan. Yang kedua, Najib berkata ia akan follow international norms. Kalau kita ikut international norms, apa yang kita buat dengan pindahan ini adalah memang teruk. Dan tidak ada sebarang rundingan, consultation dengan semua kumpulan-kumpulan sivil. There was no consultation at all. It was rushed into, tak consult Suhakam pun. Walaupun Suhakam already prepare satu bill, you know. So what they did is they just listen to the police. Panggil polis duduk, how do you want? Dengan pindahan ini kerja polis senang sikit pasal tak perlu proses permit. Tapi susah untuk rakyat kerana kita terpaksa melalui banyak lagi rintangan. So bil ini harus dibatalkan dan tidak harus berterusan. Dan ini adalah desakan rakyat Malaysia.
Allahyarham Tunku Abdul Rahman tidak menjerit Merdeka sebanyak 7 kali, itu untuk sia-sia saja. Itu untuk memartabatkan negara kita sebagai sebuah negara yang merdeka. Dan kalau kita terpaksa memberitahu polis setiap kali kita pergi ke mana-mana lebih daripada 3 orang, maka itu bukan negara yang bebas, bukan merdeka, itu penjara namanya.
Batal, batal. this, where they want to change the Section 27 of the Police Act to get for the right of people to assemble. That's a good idea. But the new act they're bringing up has got too many restrictions. Restrictions on where you can meet. You've got to inform the police 30 days before. They can put a lot of kinds of conditions. It becomes illegal to bring along a child. See, for a lot of people in poorer areas, in estates, in squatter kampongs and all that, they want to come out to do a demonstration. They got to take children along because no one at home to look after their kids. So this actually is very, anti-poor people, So I think it puts too many restrictions, and it hasn't consulted people. Let's say I want to bring this thing up, they should have consulted the PSM. I mean, we are the ones who do a lot of the demos, Jared, and other groups to find out what do we want, or GMI or Swara. So none of these groups have been consulted. So the best thing they can do if they want to have a more democratic Malaysia is to tarik balik, take it back, and then call people for dialogue. And maybe the next session of Parliament bring it in. But in its present form, it's got too many restrictions, and it doesn't. If the idea is to open the democratic space and give people the right to assemble, then this act obviously is not going to work. Or whether Najib wants to portray the government as a more democratic government, as more open, to try and win the vote of the urban people. It could be that as well. But I think it's got very mixed kind of authorship. On one element, on one side, the government wants to liberalize the laws. But this thing has been overwritten by a very authoritarian bent in it, So I think it's not going to serve its purpose. So they should just withdraw it, and maybe study it a bit more. Yeah.
Have a consultation with the people.
Have a consultation. I think that's what we need.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Akta Zalim!
Hidup, hidup! Hidup rakyat!
Hidup rakyat!
Hidup, hidup!
Hidup, hidup!
Hidup rakyat!
Hidup rakyat!
Bebas, bebas!
Bebas, bebas!
Bebas himpun!
Bebas himpun!
Bebas, bebas!
Bebas, bebas!
Bebas himpun!
Bebas himpun!
Bebas himpun!
Bebas himpun!
Hak kami!
Hak kami!
Bebas himpun!
Bebas himpun!
Najib is a big liar because on 15th of September he took the whole nation for a ride with the so-called reforms, and what we have today is something worse off, and this is really what the police wanted actually. Basically, there is now more restriction, and these restrictions are going to be made into law. What they have been doing before, now they are going to make it law. There's more restriction, more draconian, and what he promised was he will follow the constitution. This, what they have done now, is definitely in violation of the constitution, which allows for freedom of assembly. In any other country, no act can supersede or contradict the federal constitution. Here it is very clear. They make acts to go against fundamental liberties, and I think the government is in real fear of losing power. They have seen all over the world in the Occupy movement, as well as people all over the world standing up for their rights. And I think the reflection of the bill is a reflection of this fear. I think ultimately, we have seen in Bersih, people do not bother about laws. They feel they treasure fundamental liberties much stronger than whatever laws which are there. So I think at the end of the day, the people will have to just trample over the laws and go for changes to come. I think the government is going to go on with this bill simply because they need this for their own safety, for their own protection, not for civil liberties or whatever. So I think they need this bill to carry on governing the country. But we have to protest this because this is very fundamental. This is the core of human democracy.
Pada hari Sabtu pukul 2 petang kita akan berhimpun di KLCC. Kita akan tunjukkan kepada seluruh dunia bahawa rakyat Malaysia boleh berhimpun di kawasan Khalayak Lamai tanpa mendapat permit polis. Jadi tak perlu bawa banner pelika apa, bawa bendera, bawa bunga, bawa balon. Guna balon untuk tuliskan, tunjukkan kepada polis kita sangat kreatif dalam berhimpun. Biar mereka yang pecahkan balon kita. Okey?
Akta Zalim!
this act is really something that is like a tool, you know. Before, in the Police Act, in the Section 27, it doesn't spell out exactly how they can control our freedom of movement. Now, this act actually spells it out, gives the police very extreme power. The police has extreme power, discretion from where you can hold an assembly to even determining whether it is disturbing the tranquility of the place. So it's very up to wide interpretation. The thing is also they have such wide discretionary powers to decide whether they should allow it or not. Before it was also to apply for permit, but it was not spelled out detailedly what you can and can't do. So this act is a retrogressive act. It is not at all something that is progressive as Najib has promised. Kita berhimpun pada hari ini kerana kita ingin membantah sekuat-kuatnya tentang rang undang-undang yang namanya perhimpunan aman. Kerana rakyat memang berhak untuk berhimpun mana-mana, kita sentiasa berhimpun. Kita sentiasa keluar dari lebih daripada 3 orang, sama ada pergi ke sekolah, pergi ke pasar, pergi berkelah dan sebagainya. Mengapa kita tidak perlu memberitahu polis lebih awal sebelum 30 hari sebelumnya? Tak ada sebabnya kita kena beritahu polis kerana semata-mata kita selain buat apa yang kita buat tu, kita mungkin fikirkan negara kita. Apa yang dimaksudkan perarakan perhimpunan awam? Kita lakukannya setiap hari saja. Jadi kita membantah sekuat-kuatnya akta ini kerana kita ingin semua rakyat berhak berhimpun. Kita tidak perlu pergi ke memberitahu balai polis tentang apa kita nak buat sebulan kemudian. Yang saya rasa ramai orang mungkin rasakan ini tidak kena dengan hidup mereka. Sebenarnya ia sangat mudah berlaku. Bayangkan kalau rumah anda sekarang akan dirobohkan dan anda ingin lakukan bantahan, dan kalau anda tidak memberitahu polis 30 hari terlebih dahulu, anda mungkin didenda sebanyak 20,000. 10,000. Dan kalau anda tidak bersurai mengikut pandangan polis, maka anda akan dihukum 20,000. Nah, saya rasa ini bukanlah ini nampaknya kerajaan lebih berminat untuk menggauk wang daripada rakyat, daripada menjaga keamanan. Kita rasa itu tak perlu. Kita rakyat nak bila-bila berhimpun tak ada jadi masalah. Kalau tidak, kalau budak kecil 3 orang pergi ke taman untuk kencing sekalipun, itu menjadi perhimpunan haram ke?